LinkedIn can help you find friends, get jobs, get clients, build friendships, and a whole lot more. But of course, it can be a lot to get into at first. So in this video, I want to talk about my top 5 learnings/hacks that I've picked up over the last 2 years roughly of growing organically on the platform, talking to people at LinkedIn to a point where my most recent post got about 130, 140 likes and like 45,000 impressions, which is more than I've ever got, and it's still growing steadily. LinkedIn's got a weird reputation among young people because a lot of people still see it as a digital resume only, but I actually think it's a lot more. And today I want to show you how I personally have made it actually the most value-add social media channel of all. Like I said, for friends, for leads, for crafting your personal brand, your professional voice, and a whole lot more. All right, so the first hack is filling out as much as you possibly can when you're creating or updating your profile. I was actually talking to somebody who was working at LinkedIn, and she said this is the #1 thing. You have to fill out as much as you can, right? From your tagline to the banner to your profile picture to employment history, as much as you can, add it in there. This boosts you to the top in searches, and searches are the biggest way that people discover your profile, whether it's if they're looking for candidates or they're looking for providers or vendors. Of course, contact info is up to you. I turned the visibility of my phone number and email off because after a certain point, you just get bombarded with random sales stuff. And remember, when you're creating your profile, this isn't just a resume, like I was saying in the beginning. Try to add your personality. Add details about your personal life or your quirks or your personal values or what you're trying to get out of a job or just your career in general. This actually has been probably the most important thing for me in crafting my brand and my voice on LinkedIn. People don't want to see just the cut, dry, like clinical, professional stuff going on. Like they already know that. They know your title or whatever, but they want to see the behind the scenes, the juicy, and who you are as a person. And that content often becomes very popular on LinkedIn. And of course, keep updating and iterating on your profile. So of course, it's not like it's a one and done kind of thing. After you create it, keep seeing what works, keep adding to it as you gain experience, as you gain skills, as you go through, of course, jobs, whatever, certificates. And don't be afraid to change up your tagline, change up how you present yourself as well. Because of course you grow, your LinkedIn should as well. Don't be afraid to ask current employers or teachers or friends to also add recommendations at the bottom of your profile. This helps a lot with respectability and just generally boosts your profile and makes it look a little bit more legit. Think carefully also about updating your tagline. I noticed that a lot of employers take this tagline pretty seriously because when you look at a profile on LinkedIn, it's your name and your tagline. That's all you see in the picture usually. But what you put in your tagline is extremely important. And depending on if you have a side job or a side hustle or something going on or starting a business while also holding a job, you have to kind of prioritize those and decide which one you want to put first because that is actually what people recognize first. Cool little side feature, you can also film a profile video instead of a profile picture if you're using the LinkedIn mobile app. All right, so the second hack is to post consistently. And of course, this goes for all social media channels, but LinkedIn is the same. I see way too many people using LinkedIn, again, just as a digital resume without actually adding content to it. And this severely limits the amount of resources and value that you can get from this powerful platform. For me personally, my schedule, I post at least once a week, but twice if I have enough content or interesting things going on that week. And in terms of what to post about, of course, over time, as you do it more, you'll get better at this. You'll learn what people like, what people engage with. But make sure, of course, that it's related in some way to your job, your work, your business, your professional life. I try to avoid reposting things too often because in a way it kind of dilutes your feed. I actually prefer to post original content. I mean, I imagine this is similar on Twitter where you want to try to limit your retweets and go more for original tweets. And when it comes to posting, I think Alex Hormozy said this, start with quantity and then from that you'll derive quality. So start with posting consistently. Make sure that you do it on a consistent schedule. You can make that as little or as much as you want depending on how much time you have. And then over time, quality will come. You'll realize what sticks, what gets engagement, and then from there you can continually, iterate towards better content. And again, there's a real need for real content on LinkedIn. The personal stuff, the behind the scenes of your business. Don't I mean, I'm sorry, but if you post that thing like when you get a new job, the little balloon thing like, oh, I got a new position at this. I'm sorry, but people don't really care about that. People want to see you, like I said, behind the scenes, personal values. I tend to find that group photos actually work really well on LinkedIn for some reason. Also, partially because you can tag other people, which I'll get into later, but because people want to see what's actually going on and they don't want to have that dry, clinical, resume feeling ultra professional content. All right, the third hack is actually a bunch of kind of little things that I've learned, and it's basically how to post, if you will. So I've noticed that LinkedIn really emphasizes pictures. So you need a picture or a video or a GIF works really well on your post and not just text. So think of it like YouTube thumbnails. When you're flying through your feed, you're only going to see the pictures. You're going to very easily skip over just text. Surveys for me haven't really worked that well because of the same thing, because there's no image to kind of catch your eye. And then after you decided on a picture or a video or a GIF, I like to add a hook at the top. So the way a LinkedIn post will work is there's going to be a certain amount of text that people can see before they have to click like a see more button to kind of expand the text, right? And that first line, I will drop a picture on the screen right now to show how many characters it is. Those words are really important. And if you get those right, people will expand on your text. An interesting note, LinkedIn loves long posts, actually. So people will read through your stuff if the hook is good. So people come to LinkedIn not to kind of get in that brain dead state of like that you're on TikTok, right? People actually come there to learn and to learn about other people's jobs or businesses. So they're willing usually to read longer posts. And LinkedIn will heavily boost posts that people are actually reading through. So really don't be afraid to put multiple paragraphs even of text. Like I'll put a hook that's like short and kind of catchy, but then if you expand more, I'll actually have like a good chunk of text. Usually I try to break up that text though with either like emojis or like those pointer fingers or symbols or something to kind of make it easier to parse through, not just have blocks of prose, right? Cool little side note, you can also tag people at the bottom if you want them to engage with your post. So I do this sometimes. Again, if I have a group group photos are really awesome. You can just tag everybody that's in the group and they'll hopefully engage, and comment with it, and that will boost it even further. So for some reason, LinkedIn loves comments more than anything. So if possible, try to get your friends to cross-engage and comment on your posts. We do this at our company when we want to do like a media push for a release of something, of a product, of a service. We'll all, in our internal Slack, we'll drop, okay, please comment on this post. Everybody will comment, and that makes the post go absolutely crazy. Now, the fourth hack is LinkedIn Premium. Now, I understand this product is not for everybody. I've tried out their sales nav, I've tried out their business plan, and there's some good features. It's definitely great if you really want to get hired or you really want to do cold sales. One cool feature is in-message. That's great for cold outreach, but again, if I see an in-message, I almost automatically delete it because I kind of assume that it's a sales message. So it's kind of a hit or miss. One cool thing about Premium is that you can see who viewed your profile, which is nice because you can kind of pull the threads and ask them, oh, like, how did you find out about me? Like, why is this person looking at my profile? Right? And that can help for, again, getting jobs, getting leads, even finding friends, making interesting connections. But for me, Premium is a little bit expensive. I think the cheapest plan is like $40 a month or something, and then the most expensive one is $140 a month. And there's not quite enough value for me personally to justify that expense. But again, look at the product page if you want to figure out if it's for you. All right, so the fifth hack is understanding the difference between connections and follows. So connections are really the unique core functionality of LinkedIn. They're basically two-sided, meaning that you can't connect with somebody and they won't connect with you back. Like it's a bond, right? That's different from follows. Follows are one-sided. So you can follow somebody and they don't necessarily need to follow you back. And that's the same as any other social media platform. When it comes to connections, there's first-degree connections, which are like direct links, right? Then second degree, which is like somebody you're connected to is connected to that person. And then third degree, which is 3 degrees of separation, and so on. My personal policy is to only connect with somebody that you either know or that you know is like legit, or it's in your city or in your industry, and they might actually provide real value to you. You'll get a lot of random connection requests from salespeople and people across the world that I tend to ignore. Keep in mind, there's actually a max number of connections that you can have on LinkedIn, which is 30,000. And there's also a max number of connection requests that you can send out in a day, which I'm not sure the exact number, but I think it's like 100 or 200 or something. And if you're doing cold outbounding, I actually bumped up against the ceiling a couple times, and that's how I learned about it. But try not to spam people with connection requests. I do it sometimes. It's kind of a dirty habit, I know. But if you're just interested in learning about somebody and keeping up to date with them, you can consider following them instead. And the reverse is true. People can keep following you with no max ceiling. And this is really, if you become like a LinkedIn influencer, if you will, you'll see 40, 50, 60,000 followers or whatever, but then they'll only have a certain amount of connections, and those connections are basically reserved for people they actually know. Anyways, guys, that's all for today. I hope you found some value in this video. Really, if you're consistent with LinkedIn, and if you're open to learning and changing your style and adapting and posting consistently, like, you can get so much value from it. I've found many of my best friends that I have currently through LinkedIn, and as well as jobs and leads and just interesting relationships and learning new things. Social media is a long game. There's almost no returns in the short term, but if you play the game for long enough, there's a lot of returns in the long run, right? And if there was actually one practical skill that I wish high schools and universities taught, is actually how to use LinkedIn effectively. Because nowadays, a lot of jobs, especially the interesting jobs, aren't received through application forms or traditional avenues, if you will. They're received through connections and relationships and seeing people's brands and seeing what they're putting out. And all that happens on platforms like LinkedIn. I mean, me personally, I dropped out of college, and I've received a lot of opportunities for jobs and for other things through my presence online and through the content and brand that I've built on LinkedIn. And it's no joke that attention is the new currency. I know that's a really cliche thing to say, but in today's job market, having an online presence is just paramount to have opportunities come to you. I mean, think about a business. If a business doesn't have a website, you wouldn't really take it seriously, right? You could say the same is true for yourself as an employee, as an entrepreneur. If you don't have a website or a LinkedIn or social media or Instagram or something, people will struggle to take you seriously. They won't know what you're about, what you stand for, what skills or experiences you've had in the past. And for that reason, I really, encourage everybody to at least take a look at LinkedIn, try it out if you haven't, and update it, please. Post occasionally, add a profile picture. It's worked for me, guys. I hope you'll have a lot of success with it. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or shoot me a message. I will actually add my LinkedIn, so connect with me if you like this video.